The following morning, on October 13th, 4014 pulls the special train out of the Union Pacific Yard in Yermo, where it spent the night, and slowly approaches the junction at Daggett. This is where the train will make the transition back onto BNSF rails for the short ferry move to the Barstow depot to board the passengers before the return trip to West Colton. If you listen closely, you can hear the whistle on the 4014 being sounded as the train approaches the first of two grade crossings located here at Daggett. The train slowly approaches the crossover at Daggett and will soon make its way back onto the former Santa Fe main line. This route was originally built by the Southern Pacific Railroad in 1884 as part of a rail line stretching from Mojave to Needles, California, just west of the Colorado River. The line was originally built by the SP when it was discovered that Santa Fe was planning to build their own line into Southern California to access the ports of Los Angeles. In response, the Southern Pacific built the Mojave to Needles line to cut off Santa Fe's access to the LA basin in order to establish a monopoly for the Southern Pacific. However, this was found to be unconstitutional by the federal government, and shortly after, the railroad was forced to sell the line to the Santa Fe in 1885. What the Southern Pacific was not aware of at the time was that Santa Fe, through its California Southern subsidiary, had already begun construction of its main line to Barstow from the opposite end by building north along the coast out of San Diego to reach Barstow. That line was completed in mid-1885, and shortly after, Santa Fe then began pushing west out of San Bernardino to reach the city of Los Angeles, which was completed only a year later.
Will you be any dirtier for you?
Yeah, really. Diesel. 161. BNSF detector. Milepost 739.7. Main 2. First. Hot. Side. Axle 2. And hot journal. Left side. Axle 2. Total axle +6.
that talking on the radio?
Main 2, first.
I don't know if that's it or... Holy crap, look at the crowd.
Packed all the way out here.
Well, see, we're not going
In there.
in.
We're gonna back in.
I don't know how we're going in, but we're not going into where we were yesterday. Unless we're backing in. Yeah, I don't understand because Amtrak goes in that way.
Yeah.
Joe did defect that issue on the main cab. He has no output. You do the same, sir. Yes, I'm gonna go.
You know, I wonder if maybe they decided to do a run by for the spectators and then back it in. Could that be possible?
That's what I said. Because he said he was going to come into the station westbound. So, I don't know.
Yeah, so
Unless we're stopping way out here.
which wouldn't be the best of ideas because we'd be tying up a main line. And we're not leaving for like, what, 2 hours at least?
Is it that long?
Yeah, we're not leaving till 11.
Well, there's buses there already. There's a bunch of buses out there.
So obviously we're backing in.
He's keying the mic. Wait.
Ready.
I love the 04.
A few hours later, the special is making its way down Cajon Pass once again and is now back on the former Southern Pacific Palmdale cutoff after having traversed the crossover at CP Silverwood just below the summit.
Oh, I go through, yeah, no.
It's not in the way he wants it, that's why.
Okay, brothers and sisters.
Right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big mistake.
We had kids running all over blowing us all day long.
You should have gave him a drum set.
Yeah, that's so much better. You were right about those pictures.
I tell ya.
And they let us go to the dome part. It was awesome.
All right, Harry. That's so nice. The two people that helped the blind, they went photographs with, me, the girl, and the one that I helped the thing, right? He came back later, he says, she turned around to thank you. He said, so he came back and got his phone, one of these.
I'm sorry, I didn't see your foot there.
It's okay. But it's just, you know,
Okay, guys, you may hear the sound of grinding diesels in the background. We've got a BNSF train ascending the pass. You're not going to be able to see it from this angle, but you'll certainly be able to hear it. In the meantime, we're waiting for 4014 to show its face here at Gorman Rocks.
What are you listening to?
Are you familiar? Are you old enough to remember I Love? Be familiar
Okay. William Frawley, Ed Mertz is climbing on the locomotive on that photo. This photo here.
Oh, there's
I was looking at all these old actors. Like this picture of 1939 has the original Joker from Batman.
Oh, really?
Cesar Romero looks pretty young.
What are you listening to, Jason? Are you watching something?
Yeah, I was watching a bit of the live streaming earlier. It must still be playing on my phone.
Oh, we're coming through the pit. Just a random video camera right there. Alright, how packed is Northern Rocks gonna be?
We'll find out in just a moment.
Not right now. Wait, no, not yet. We have to go to Sullivan's Excursion still.
No, that's below Mormon Rocks. Yeah, there's a BNSF freight going uphill, and it's got a warb on it.
Up here. That's all.
Are you not getting signal?
No, I said, how in the world do people get up here?
Oh. Simple. They walk.
You know? Oh, there we go. Here's Northern Rocks. What do we call that side? Oh, wow. Oh, I see the ground. We'll go around that hill.
So both sides, somebody.
Look at these people on this hill over here. They're like the little tippy top of this hill.
Yeah, I see it.
Up that hill spot, I think.
They're like a mandolin over here on the side.
Oh, really?
He's just coming over.
The train is approaching Sullivan's Curve as it continues down the Palmdale Cutoff. This line was originally built by the Southern Pacific in 1966 to serve as a bypass route so that trains from the north going to destinations in Arizona and points east would no longer have to contend with the heavy train traffic in downtown Los Angeles. Because at that time, Los Angeles was located at the end of 3 very busy main lines just for the Southern Pacific on its own, this created a lot of congestion in the Los Angeles area because the Southern Pacific had so many trains going into and out of the city every day, including trains whose destinations were not even in California. So in 1966, the railroad began construction of the Palmdale Cutoff to serve as a bypass for those trains going to destinations outside of California, so they would no longer have to deal with the heavy train traffic in Los Angeles.
Dude, get away from the tracks.
window.
The train rolls across the Lytle Creek Bridge for the second time in as many days, as it rolls out the final miles of the return trip to West Colton. Upon arrival in Colton, the train will negotiate the Y at CP Rancho and then back down to the west end of Colton Yard before pulling into the yard to drop off the passengers, who will then be ferried back to the Rancho Cucamonga Metrolink station. On Tuesday, the train will head east out of Colton to Yuma, Arizona, where it will spend the night, thus concluding 4014's very first visit to Southern California since its return to service earlier in the year. On Tuesday morning, October 15th, I'm set up at the Pepper Avenue overpass at the east end of the Colton Yard to witness 4014's departure as it heads for Yuma, Arizona. As you can see here, the bridge is full of rail fans from all over the Southern California region who have gathered here to witness the historic departure of the big boy as it begins the next leg of the great race across the Southwest. Over the next several days, the train will make its way east across California, Arizona, and New Mexico to El Paso, Texas. At 8:45, 4014 has finally pulled out of the yard and onto the main line as it begins the journey east. The train is now back to its regular tour consist length of 10 cars, with the extra cars from the excursion trip over the last few days having gone north up the coastline on a separate train for a special event in the Bay Area. Come along with us as we continue east and follow 4014 to Indio. The next place where I catch 4014 at trackside is at the Palm Springs Amtrak station just off of Interstate 10. My camera location is actually just on the opposite side of the main line from the depot itself. next camera location where I catch the train at trackside is in the town of Palm Desert, just a few miles west of Indio.
Copy that. I'll let this next train come by there now. Also, give me an update there.
At 11:45 a.m., 4014 departs Indio after a 30-minute servicing and fueling stop. This is where I would break off the chase for the long drive back to the Los Angeles area. This would also end my last Railfan outing of 2019. We will bid number 4014 farewell here as it continues off on the great race across the Southwest and wraps up the first year of its new career in excursion service. You can be assured that whenever 4014 visits California again, I will be there to capture it on camera as best as I can. Until next time, thanks for watching.